Central Bank of Nigeria has extended the Naira for Dollar scheme it introduced a few months ago. The scheme, which offers recipients of dollars remittances through CBN, International Monetary Transfer Organization, a 5 Naira for every $1 received a remittance inflow, was scheduled to end on September 8th of May 2021, but the Apex Bank has extended it till further notice. All right, now moving on to our first topic of discuss. Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC, also known as Transcorp, is a diversified conglomerate with strategic investments and core interests in the hospitality, agribusiness, energy sector. The company is a publicly quoted conglomerate and is focused on acquiring and managing strategic businesses that create long-term shareholder value and social economic impact. Well, despite the challenging business environment arising from COVID-19 pandemic in the past year, the company sustained its growth agenda across its various business sectors, recording 75.2 billion naira in turnover and profit after tax of 3.79 billion in 2020, representing a 2.35% increase against 3.70 billion naira recorded in 2019. Notwithstanding the bleak outlook the hospitality business holds for Nigeria following the COVID-19 pandemic, Transcorp Hotels recorded an impressive revenue of about 3.98 billion in Q1, and as part of its strategic initiatives to boost and remain competitive in the hospitality industry in spite of the pandemic, and the company is targeting a revenue of 28 billion and occupancy of 70% by 2025. Given the competitiveness of Nigeria's economy, Transcorp has continued to thrive and cautiously optimistic about the local investment and business climate in the country. Transcorp has also stepped up its presence in the nation's power and petroleum sectors, with significant advances in the group's integrated energy strategy with the acquisition of Afam Power Plant PLC and Afam Fast Power Limited in oil and gas industry. The group is driving forward investments in the OPL 281 and participated in the acquisition of OML 17. Well, a lot has been done. Let's just move straight and start talking about all of this. To discuss this and more, I told you earlier, I have the president and the group chief executive officer of Transcorp PLC, Mrs. Owen Omogiafo. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you on the show.
Pleasure's mine.
Yeah, like I said, I was reading out those figures. It looks very good to me. Tell us how Transcorp has actually evolved to this point, being the largest diversified conglomerate. Take us through this.
So pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for the very kind words and the introduction that you've provided. So Transcorp is Nigeria's leading largest diversified conglomerate, as you've rightly stated. We have continued a strategy of diversification, driven very strongly by our purpose of improving lives and transforming Nigeria. And that has led us into the various sectors that we have gone into. So in 2011, when Heirs Holdings came in as a strategic investor in Transcorp, with a view to turning around the fate of the company, you will remember that Transcorp was incorporated in 2004. Yep. And there was a time the fortunes were not going too great to the company. But 2011, Heirs Holdings came in, and that commenced the transformation and rebirth of Transcorp that we know today. When Heirs Holdings came in, Transcorp was more or less, it had just one active sector, and that was hospitality.
Yep.
So at that time, nearly 100% of the revenue was generated by hospitality. Fast forward a few years, in keeping with that purpose of how do we grow this company? How do we make it the largest company? How do we make it diversified? Risk management and ensuring that indeed we're able to touch lives as we want to do. Then came the privatization of the power sector back then. And we recognized that there's no way you can transform an economy without dealing with power. And that led us thereon into the investment in Ughelli Power Plant at the time, which was a 972 megawatt capacity plant. Yep. We took it over and transformed it, renamed it Transcorp Power Limited. And it's on record that within about 4 or 5 months, we took our capacity there, in terms of what is actually available and being generated, from 160 megawatts to nearly 500 megawatts.
Wow, real improvement.
Yes, serious improvement. And to put this in a bit of context, all these megawatts that we're talking about 1 megawatt of electricity is what you need to power nearly 1,000 average size household for 24/7 electricity. Now, going again, last year, despite the COVID that everybody keeps talking about, we went on to complete the 100% acquisition of Afam Power PLC and Afam 3 Fast Power, bringing an additional 966 megawatts to our power generating capacity, taking us in Transcorp Group to nearly 2,000 megawatts and being the largest power generating company in Nigeria today in terms of nameplate capacity. Now, what has that done? That strategy, very, very great strategy if you now look at what's happened with COVID, because if we had remained as just the hospitality brand we were, you can imagine what would have happened. But with the power investment that we have, which shows that concept of you can create value and at the same time have an impact on society. You've seen the results, and that's what you mentioned earlier about we've achieved 75.2 billion naira in a year where things were rocky for the whole world. It's not easy.
It's not.
But when you are driven with the kind of governance standards that we have and the clear focus on we want to improve lives, we want to transform this country, we want to make sure that Nigeria takes its place as a leader that is meant to be, it helps to drive you along those lines.
So really good way to start this discussion. Key investments in oil and gas, hospitality. You've talked a little about it, but the Transcorp strategy in those sectors, as well as medium and of course long-term plans, to make sure that you remain the leader across all these sectors.
So when we are investing, we look at the capacity for growth in that sector that we're going into. If you look at our businesses, they are very capex intensive, high investment required. Just the renovation of Transcorp Hilton Abuja a few years back cost us over $100 million to renovate that asset. So you can imagine the cost of putting up that kind of thing again. Power, the same thing, looking at what are the growth opportunities. So we take that strategy of we want to continue to push. We want to continue to drive. But as we are coming into a sector, we say, is there room for growth? Is there room for scalability? We drive that strategy with ruthless operational efficiency. We're very efficient. We are Asian in how we look at it and say, okay, what does that 1 naira translate to? Our cost to income ratio, efficiency matrices, we're always looking at it. But we just don't rest on our oars because one thing that success demands? More successes. So we continue to look into the future and say, how do we remain sustainable? And that has led us into our integrated energy strategy. We have our plants as gas-fired plants. If you've been following the story in Nigeria of the power sector, especially for the 1% of power in Nigeria generated from gas-fired plants, hydros contribute 19%. And we've had challenges with gas in Nigeria. It's a common story. Is well known, from availability to the quality and all of that. But that concept of sustainability for us and maintaining our position of being the clear leader, but even beyond that, but delivering on the promise, delivering on getting quality power to end users. That has led us into our integrated energy strategy, hence our pursuing the exploration and production of OPL 281, our asset which is rich in oil and gas, but quite rich in gas. And we have recently participated with Heirs Oil and Gas in the acquisition of OML 17, which is an asset that is well celebrated. That transaction, got a lot of coverage, significant coverage. And we know the assets in there and is rich in gas. We've actually started getting gas from there to generate power in our Afam power plants in River State.
That's really good. COVID-19, you touched on it earlier, and on the hospitality business. I want to know how you've been able to navigate this, because at the time it was a total lockdown and everywhere. Hospitality business, we know what's been playing out. So how were you able to navigate through this?
I love my group.
Wow.
The fact that we are patient investors came out through very strongly, and it also worked in helping to navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic. Our diversification strategy came in as well. And remember earlier on I mentioned operational efficiency.
Yes, you did.
Last year, with the whole COVID thing, people could, you could run to the hills screaming, crying, or you could say, this too shall pass. Let me put my feet firmly on the soil, boots on ground, this will go past. And what did we do? There were two strategies, or let me say three, let me put it that way. One, under operational efficiency, looking at your costs. There are some costs that just for merely waking up, there are some costs that would incur. Not much we can do about that.
Yep.
But there are other costs that we could have, that we could impact, and indeed we worked on to ensure that we brought them down as low as possible to keep the hotel open. Second, we went on to drive, we still drove revenue.
Wow.
We still drove revenue in that time, and that led us to launching innovative products. And the Managing Director, CEO of Transcorp Hotel, Mrs. Dupe Olushola, who resumed during COVID, if I always tell her I didn't envy you, she resumed right on as we're going into a lockdown.
Wow.
But working with the team, came up with innovative products. One of them, we were the first to launch a drive-in cinema. Did it in Abuja. You know, we've got that beautiful property in there. So we did the drive-in cinema, we had the laundry, we had food deliveries, and but we also launched the Clean Stay program and let people know about that very clearly. So as things opened up, people were comfortable. You know, you're coming into that brand, you're coming into Transcorp hotels, you know that, look, these people might run very efficiently, but they do not compromise on safety. They are not cutting costs on safety. My safety is paramount to them. My comfort, they are looking out for me like I am their own. And then the third thing, we stayed in touch with our guests and customers. Wow. We wrote letters, we kept them updated on what was going on. We still just maintained that touch. And hey, as you can see from our Q1 results, it's paying off. It is paying off. We finished Q1 with an occupancy rate of 63%, which is highly commendable. When you think about the fact that, as you know, the international airspace has still not opened very well. Prior to COVID, significant portion of the Transcorp Hotels business, especially the Abuja business, came from the international business traveler. From last year, we've seen a stronger rise of domestic business. Domestic business, people are recognizing that there's local tourism in Nigeria, and there's a lot we can do within our own country. You don't necessarily have to travel to get this done. You can indeed have a good time. You can indeed enjoy yourself. You can shop. You can go to the Arts and Craft Village. We have a beautiful one at the Hilton Abuja, by the way, Transcorp Hilton Abuja. And we're seeing all of that, different products that come in. We had great appearance during Christmas. We had people stay in the hotel at Christmas, New Year. They had Valentine. We had the Easter Village, and so on and so forth. So many things. Oh yes, lots of creativity, and of course having an amazing staff who so strongly believe in the vision of the company, in what the company is about, and recognize that this is our home. This is ours, and that came up very strongly. Pardon me, you know I was the MD of the hotel prior to COVID, so it's just really a great
I can see. Well, for me, as much as I envy you, I love your kind of business, the power sector is challenged. I have followed this for years, right from the privatization thing. I've been covering this, so I know what it entails, from transmission to generation and all of it. Now you've invested so much, you're in the business now. How do you intend to, growth is key. How do you intend to achieve growth with all of these challenges?
You know one thing about challenges? In challenges lie opportunities.
True.
Like I mentioned earlier on, there's no way you can transform a society. You can't achieve growth in a society without power. It's not possible. It's not the easiest road to walk in.
It is not.
But it's a road that is needed. And that's where organizations, conglomerates like Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, where we come in. We come in with our discipline. We come in with our rigor. Right, with our clear execution philosophy. Yes, the sector does have challenges, but is there any that doesn't have? And I really, at this point, want to commend the government. I mean, from last year, there's been a lot that's been going on in the sector. A whole lot has been going on. In fact, as I speak, there's some ongoing engagements with the OSGENCOs, the DISCOs, the regulator, for 2-day session where they are discussing to see how do we make it better. We've seen some improvements. There's the ongoing mass metering plan that
I got my meter today.
Whoops.
Let me say that.
Congratulations.
I got my meter today.
Very happy to hear that.
Yes, I did.
Because with getting your meter, there's also transparency.
Yes.
Highly needed transparency that is brought into the sector. The thefts that we're having, the losses that are coming from theft, when we have meters, it goes down. And you, as the end user, you want to know, okay, you didn't give me power today, no problem now. You didn't give me power, you won't make money.
True.
As opposed to the estimated billing of before. But that said, indeed there are challenges in the sector, notably around the let me say the infrastructure.
That's
the infrastructure around it. But there's still encouragement because we are seeing the deliberate effort, the deliberate execution of the plans. Yes, you will find some resistance or people seeking clarity. Oh, why are you doing service reflected tariff? What does that mean? What is that? Are you giving me electricity? Why do you want it? But that is in there. And if you look at the numbers as well, despite the challenges, our books are there, were publicly quoted companies, so it's in there. Despite those challenges, the power sector remains one that is good. It's one that is necessary. It is literally oxygen to the development of Nigeria. And one is very encouraged by the interest, both from local and international organizations, to ensure that we do indeed unlock and resolve the challenges in the power sector.
Indeed, I really wish we had private players in the sector on like before now. And I guess we would have gotten better than where we are now. Because I'm coming to a roundtable to talk about this is something that is key. The Genco guys, transmission and distribution. Well, let's see how all of that plays out. Nigerians are standing by. We want that power, and it's really the oxygen that will, move us up. Now, another thing, your interest in the OML 17 oil producing block. Yeah. How does it fit into your overall strategy of Transcorp Group?
As I said, we are running an integrated energy strategy. Yep. You talked about our power investments earlier on. We have nearly 2,000 megawatts of nameplate capacity. Yeah. For this year, 2021, we have a strategic objective, a plan of recovering about 500 megawatts, right, to our today available capacity. Mind there's nameplate capacity, there's available capacity. We want to generate an additional 500 megawatts. To do that, you need gas. And in certain regions, gas is not as available. So for us, participating in OML 17, for us, it's not so much the oil in Transcorp, it's more of the gas. Because with the gas, we can generate more power. And when we generate more power, we find the power is willed to the grid. And with the investment that is going on right now by the Transmission Company of Nigeria and the new focus of the distribution companies, it will get to the end user being residential users, commercial users, industrial users.
Power, always power. That's always the way. And it's a gas decade, according to the minister, decade of gas. So we are all looking at gas. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Increase from Q1 2021. Let me check the figures from here so I don't make any mistake. 24.4 billion naira. That's from 15.4 billion in Q1 2020. Please, what are the plans to ensure that the level of performance, sustained, throughout the year?
Throughout the year and beyond.
We can even do better.
Throughout the year
we can even do better.
Well, we try to be it's cautious.
Oh, that's true.
But it's been a good year. We started out on a pretty strong note. The hospitality sector has had tremendous recovery.
Yes,
very tremendous recovery. It's also been there's increased confidence. As the COVID-19 pandemic, we are getting more knowledge, more knowledgeable about it. Data is available. And the vaccine, of course, that is being rolled out. I hope you've taken your first shot.
Yes, yes, I have.
As it's being rolled out, people are having more confidence in going out and engaging. So following still on that concept of sustainability, you would know, of course, that we just recently launched Aura by Transcorp Hotels, which is our new digital platform for hospitality. I don't want to steal the thunder from the directors that are running Edupe Olushola and Ifeoma Okafor. They will come be with you one day on your show to tell you about it. But Aura by Transcorp Hotel is something that is that's really going to transform and redefine hospitality standards, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. Now, going into our power, because you look at the figures, our acquisition of AFAM is already beginning to tell. as well. We're seeing the benefit of the AFAM acquisition is contributing to the bottom line of Transcorp in there. And like I had mentioned, with the strategy we have this year, yes, our costs will go up because we are making significant capex investments in the tune of billions, but you're doing it for that sustained performance, that sustained growth. If you understand the power sector, you understand that it also requires investments in maintenance. A machine might be okay, but you're like, no, I need to take you down because looking at what data is telling me, if I don't do so and so, I might lose you, literally. So almost as if you're talking to your turbines and go. So you do all those things for that sustained performance. So with our power sector, our power business, we are doing quite a number of things now, from looking at the balance of plant, looking at the turbines, looking at our staff to ensure that we're training them and upskilling them to meet the new technologies. Speaking of new technology, AFAM 3 Fast Power is on a totally new technology, aeroderivative technology as it's called, and we have to upskill for that. Our oil and gas, we have our CEOs for our energy space is run by 3 people, let me put it in that way. You have Peter Ikenga, who is the MD of Transcorp Energy. We have Vincent Ozode, the MD of TransAfam Power, and Chris Ezeafulukwe, the MD of Transcorp Power Limited, Ugeli. So I call them my energy trilogy. And they work together in that integrated manner to continue to drive efficiency and produce the power that we need. And if you look at the numbers that we have, we're monitoring it very clearly, strong project management discipline and execution discipline within the group. These numbers will happen. And it gives you more. But we're not resting on our oars because we want to diversify. So even for our power...
That's my next question.
Okay, let me let you ask
That's my next question. Yes, are there plans to diversify into other sectors of the Nigerian economy? This country is blessed.
Nigeria is so blessed. It is indeed blessed. Yes, I know there are challenges. I mean, in the past, we've had more security concerns, no doubt, more security concerns. But we've been here before some years back, and we overcame it. And I'm confident that with the right focus, we will again overcome it. And that is what makes investors like us, to continue to invest in the sector. So day in, day out, I wake up. In fact, this morning, I went down to my group CFO's office, and what were we talking about? How are we diversifying? There are some sectors we are looking at. One of the things we're exploring is we're exploring the feasibility of running an industrial park, right? Because we need to generate we need to create an ecosystem where businesses can thrive. We have land, we have power. We'll talk to our dear government and say, okay, how do we come together? Because we need to create the ecosystem that can drive and sustain entrepreneurship, build small businesses to medium and then to large enterprises and corporates. So we are looking to diversify. As you know, agribusiness is one of the sectors that we previously operated in. Whilst we did divest from Terrago, we're still in the process of divesting. Doesn't mean we've shut the doors on agribusiness. We continuously look to say, how can we come in? Where is the spot that we're going to come in that would create the desired impact? That impact that would deliver on our purpose of improving lives and transforming Nigeria. Also looking at manufacturing. So who knows? Maybe one of these days I might be coming back here to come and tell you about some industry that we have set up. That
would be a good one. Like almost finally, one of your key agendas is improving lives and of course transforming Nigeria. I saw some pictures of some schools, a lot of CSR being done by. You tell us more about CSR initiatives and contribution to the society, because you need to give back. You're making a lot.
You see, it goes for us, CSR goes beyond you're making a lot.
Wow, good.
If you know my group chairman, Mr. Tony Elumelu, Mr. African Philanthropy, he'll tell you, do well, do good. Even in the sectors we have chosen, the way we invest, there's an element of CSR that is in there already. Our investment philosophy ties in there. But let me come in to just be very specific. Our CSR, we drive it around 3 pillars. Entrepreneurship and empowerment, number 1. Education and environment, those 3 pillars. On the entrepreneurship and empowerment is the premise of teach a man, give a man fish. He's hungry. He's not hungry right now, feeding for a day. But teach him how to fish, and you've given him a lifetime of sustenance. That's what we do, and we have that across our various businesses. We have different programs that we run, from the Youth Skills Acquisition Program to the Business Empowerment Program that we have specifically for women. We take women from communities, train them on sewing. They come, they don't even know how to thread a needle. In 6 months, they come and they've become certified designers. They get some seed capital to go and launch their own businesses, and all other programs, skills acquisition programs that we do in there. For this year, we are working on a rural empowerment program that will be launched. Hopefully, we should be able to launch it before the end of the year. That would, again, take it further to creating that sense of empowerment. We also work with the Tony Elumelu Foundation on their own large-scale entrepreneurship program, because we just want to focus on one segment. We want our impact to cut across. So that's on empowerment and entrepreneurship. Yeah. We come into education. We need good schools. We need access to education. True. In Transcorp Group, we have 2 schools that we own and manage. And we make the education through these schools available in a subsidized fashion.
Wow.
And our schools are from nursery all the way to secondary. We've just taken over an AFAM now, the school that it came with the acquisition that we did, and the same excellence or rigor, let me say rigor, that we took to the school in Ugeli, which today has now made them be the top, for people, that's where people want to send their children to, because they've consistently produced the best graduates in the state. We are bringing the same thing to AFAM to do same, investing in education. How do you create the next level of leaders? We have to educate them. We have to let them know, hey, A comes before B, comes before C. Take them in the classroom. We teach them, make sure that the education is good quality, but also accessible. Last but not the least, definitely not the least, we operate within an environment. And in looking at our environmental measures, we look at our community. We're very strong and big on recycling. We're very strong on operating within the highest safety standards, because we all owe it, you and I both, to owe it to the environment to make sure that we preserve it. Not just preserve it, we create a system that allows it to rejuvenate itself for our own children's children to come.
It's a good way to leave it. Is there anything you want Nigerians to know? What should we, what more? I know like a lot has been said already, but what more? It might be something you just want to add up, we should expect more from Transcorp PLC.
We're here for the long term. At the recently concluded annual general meeting, I said that I look forward to my children's children saying, oh, my grandmother worked in this company, and I want to let Nigerians know that they should have hope. And yes, things might be bleak, it must seem bleak,
true,
but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Look at Transcorp. We are homegrown, owned by Nigerians, run by Nigerians, managed by Nigerians, and there are other companies like us.
Yes.
Have faith in the company. You may want to decide to invest in the company now, because within the next few years, there's a lot of value that is trapped within Transcorp that the market has not recognized yet. But if you're following the analyst coverage, they're saying, hold your shares. There's a reason for it. So I invite them to join us on the journey. It's
a good way to leave it. I've been speaking to the President of Group Chief Executive Officer of Transcorp, Mrs. Owen Omogiafo. Did I get the pronunciation
Omogiafo.
Right? Omogiafo. Thank you so much. Really nice talking to you and having you on the show.
Pleasure.
We hope to have you again when you have goodies. Oh, you always have goodies for us.
We'll be back.
All right then. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.